Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical updates. This morning on the 25th of April, I will start with Meta. Earnings released in the aftermarket yesterday, and the stock got hammered really, well, quite brutally actually. At one point it was trading down to around 400. Now pre-market is trading up a little bit. It's trading here around the dashed line around 426, 427. The interesting thing to keep an eye on, will it close this gap area here back from early February? Meaning if it does close below 403.5, well then it looks really bad for Meta going forward. However, it can still look pretty bad for them if it also closes below the 100 moving average and below the cloud area. And you can use the cloud area just as a guide for a trend. Just very quickly, we'll have a very quick look at Nvidia that got rejected yesterday at 841. And this bearish like engulfing here. That's really a bad sign. So it seems like we will have a further selling pressure coming in the coming days. They are not due for earnings release until I think next week. And next week again, I can't remember exactly. Sorry about that. All right, moving on to the usual suspects. S&P 500 closed just below 5,080. Resistance. We are still below the 55 moving average, but we are in the cloud, so it's not really that bad. However, I think over the next couple of days we could see further selling pressure coming back. We are still in negative sentiment. Key support 49.53. It really needs to close above 5,146 for really confirming uptrend has resumed. So those are the levels to look out for. Nasdaq. Really strong bounce, but it didn't get all the way up to 17,808. And pre-market we are down quite a bit. As you can see here is the future, the mini future, and it could drop back below the cloud during today's session. Let's see about that. But sold off yesterday, and of course it's the Meta stock that is weighing on it really heavily. Moving on to the European markets, EUROSTOXX 50 that got rejected yesterday at 5,035, and the 61.8 retracement, and we could see a push towards the 4,888 support again. That level will be crucial. We are in a negative sentiment, so it's still there. And let's move on to DAX, also rejected at the 61.8 retracement, just around 18,208. That could also spell some trouble for DAX, despite European markets in general looking better than the US markets, but they are struggling to break key levels also here. The AEX Amsterdam 883 got rejected, and so it's caught a little bit in no man's land. I mean, we are still in an uptrend, but it is under pressure, and it could be tested these lows here from last week. But again, key support 849. Moving on to the CAC 40. Also rejected 8,126, so that is also a level to look out for. And the Swiss market closed yesterday below 11,379, so it's back below the cloud, never got back above, and selling pressure is likely to increase over the next few days towards 11,000. Euro dollar has broken above its 38.2 retracement and is on course to the 61.8 at 107.77, and I think we will reach that, and then it's probably over with the corrective uptrend, but that remains to be seen. But we still have the 200 moving average, we have the 55 moving average coming down here. They're flattening a little bit, but they will still put a little bit of a lid on it, and we are still in a negative sentiment. But what is interesting also is that RSI is actually breaking above its upper falling trend line here. It needs to close above 64 to go into a positive sentiment, and we are not quite there yet. But a move up to 61.8 retracement. Similar picture in cable also. That is also on the way to the 61.8 retracement at 125.53. just around the 200 moving average. That would probably also stop it from moving higher. But let's see when we get to that area, can it actually push higher to the 786 retracement? Not quite sure. I think we'll see a setback from the 61.8. Dollar yen pushing higher, taking out a first target at the 155.30, and I think we'll see a move up to 156.36, possibly higher. It's really a fairly strong move, still above this rising trend line here. A little bit stressed on the RSI, but there is no divergence indicating we could see it's slowly crawling higher. What is not really crawling is your yen. It's really shooting higher. It's reached the 161.8 projection. Just below 167, we could see it higher. There is still, let's see, is there any divergence building up? But it's likely to be cancelled with this move here, and I think we could see a push towards the upper rising trend line. It's not that strong, so it's just merely a guideline. 167.5, possibly up to 168 before we see a correction. Aussie yen shooting above its rising trend line. There you can see it's not that strong. It's more when it's on that side. It is more like a guideline. The lower trend lines here are a little bit stronger when the market is in a bullish mode. 102 is a likely target, and will RSI break above its trend line here? That is more or less flat. And we are about to cancel any divergence, and I think we could see Euro yen pushing, Aussie yen pushing higher in coming days. But I expect a little bit of setback at 102 before next upwards move. Sterling yen also pushing higher after breaking the 195.5, testing the 138.2 projection. Not surprisingly, 2015 peak at 195.85 is likely to be reached, and that's also around the 161.8 projection of this correction here. So that's where I think we'll see sterling yen moving to. Aussie dollar trying to penetrate the 100 and the 55 moving average coming out here. We can see the, it was not the 100, it was the 200 and the 55 moving average coming down there, and just below the 61.8 retracement. If it does break above, well, maybe we could see a spike up to the 786 retracement at 65.84, but that will be a really strong resistance, and also we are still in a negative sentiment. It could be rejected at 60. It needs to break above for this scenario to change. I think we'll see it sliding lower after spiking higher there. And then we have dollar Canada trading around 137, 136 and a half. Still potential down to the 61.8 retracement at 136.18. I think we could see that before it will resume, likely to resume uptrend. The Swiss EURSWISS pushing higher, breaking the 786 retracement, and I think we could see EURSWISS trading around 98.40, 50 in a couple of days. We are back above the 60 threshold, indicating likely higher levels on EURSWISS. Dollar Swiss also pushed higher yesterday, but it's lacking a little bit. I think we should remove that one. We can see that we're trying to get back up this rising trend line here. There's still potential up to 92.45, but I think it will be a little bit of a struggle, at least short term. Dollar index. I think we will see the dollar index dipping down to test the 104.84 support level. Not quite sure we'll close below it, but we could dip down to the 61.8 retracement, 104.67 before uptrend is likely to resume. There's no divergence on the RSI, still in a positive sentiment, so we should see it pushing higher. But again, there's no certainties in these markets at all. But at least this is what it looks like at the moment. 38.2 retracement, 105.30 seems to be a given. Let's see what's happening down here around 105. Moving on to gold, that is hovering around the 38.2 retracement. Let's just move that a little bit. 38.2 retracement at 23.20, 23.19 support. Closed below yesterday, trying to push back up today. It seems there are some quite a few bets still coming in for gold. So it seems to have a really strong buyers. Still risk down to the 22.55, 22.60 correction level down here. Still risk to that. We do have divergence on the RSI. We need a correction, but if we will get it, it's really hard to say. So at the moment, it can be a boy and can be a girl. It really is indecisive at the moment. I will wait on the sideline a little bit. If it takes out the that spike low there, 22.91, I think we'll see a push down to 22.55 and then push higher again. But it's a little bit indecisive at the moment, and that's what happens sometimes. We have to wait a little bit. Silver, more or less the same picture, but 27 seems to be really key here. We can remove that one. Hovering around it, jumping around it, still potential down to the 61.8 retracement, but let's see, I'm not quite sure we'll get there. If we do get back above the 27.70, well, then there is definitely upside potential again. And I think longer term and medium term, I'm fairly bullish on metals, precious metals. What I'm also bullish is on copper. That didn't really corrected that much, and it seems like copper is finding bids again, actually very strong ones, and could be cancelling this top and reversal pattern here. If it does close above the peak here at 455, well, then it's definitely cancelled, and then we have copper pushing higher towards the 470 and 490 level. On the energy market, we have WTI really not moving or doing much at the moment, still in a bullish trend, but in corrective phase around 82.50, still potential down to around 80. Same picture on Brent, obviously still above the lower rising trend line. I still think we will see crude oil pushing higher after this jittering around and fooling around here. So keep an eye on those. Finally, on the US 10-year, hasn't really done much, just trading sideways above the 447. Still potential up to 470, 475. If it does break above, closes up here, well, then also medium term there are potential higher. All right, that's all for today. Keep an eye on Meta and other stocks. Have a nice day and happy trading.